This is Mike Vickers from Leather Lung, and you are watching Seismic Sounds.
Great. All right. Welcome back to Seismic Sounds of the Underground on Seismic Sounds Radio. As I'd like to welcome my guest for this week, joining me from Boston's Heavy Psych Titan, SUNDRIFTER. I got drummer Patrick joining me here on the show. What's up, Patrick? How you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. Thanks for coming on. I appreciate it, man. Well, let's get into it. Man, let's talk about this great new record you guys got out an earlier time. Your guys' third LP. First since Visitations back in 2019, so about 5 years now. And I think a lot of us weren't sure if you guys were still going to do anything else, but here you are. You got not only do you have something else, it's a great record you put out. I'd have to say this is, for a lot of people, one of the best records of the year so far. I know it's early, but this is right up there, man. Just a sonic burst of just fantastic record, man. But yeah, 5 years, it's just I think a lot of fans want to know. I mean, I guess you probably get this, question asked to you guys all the time, right? What took so long for the
Uh,
follow up?
yeah, yeah. Thank you for for that. I appreciate that a lot. It has been quite a while. I think the biggest thing that played the factor of delaying it for so long was the pandemic.
Okay.
And just the
Mhm.
shutdown of live music that was really tough. And we put out Visitations back in 2018, and then right after that, we were beginning the writing of an earlier time, and
Mhm.
we thought it was like some of our best work, which some people agree with, and
Mhm.
we really wanted to wait before putting it out to because without the live music aspect, we didn't want to put
Mhm.
anything out that would just kind of fizzle out, so
Mhm.
we kind of timed it out, and we tracked drums on the eve of COVID.
Oh
It
wow.
was like March 7th and 8th of 2020, and then we tracked the drums and everything happened, and then we kind of back put it on the back burner for a while, and then about a year later we kind of got back to recording guitars and vocals, and then 2022 came around. We started playing live again around like locally around Boston to kind of like dust
Mhm.
off the cobwebs for these
Mhm.
songs, and then we it took a while to get a lot of our ducks back together, and a lot of personal issues of like outside the band things and
Mhm.
life and whatnot, but it's good to finally have it all together and out now. But we it wasn't quite like we were gone or weren't planning on doing it for a while. We're like,
Mhm.
we just kind of didn't know when it was gonna be the right time to put it out.
Got it. Well, so I mean, were you concerned at all that people? I mean, like people might have forgotten about you. Were you guys playing shows still around Boston over the last, I guess, 4 or 5 years? Had you been playing locally?
Yeah, we obviously 2018, 2019, and then 2020
Mhm.
happened. Then about 2022, we started to kind of reemerge
Okay.
and kind of play around and get things going and work out these songs live again. But
Mhm.
yeah, we we kind of knew that like putting this stuff out, we I don't know. Then like the vinyl and all of that takes so long to
Oh
press and
yeah.
everything. And
There was
but
that whole issue too with the vinyl stuff. Yeah, that's true.
right, right.
Right. Yeah. No, no doubt. I mean, so I mean, now you think like I guess. So I mean, the one obviously difference I hear just the sonic nature of this record compared, I mean, Visitations was great, but sonically, man, this is just a major step forward, I believe, and I'm
Mm.
sure a lot of people are telling you the same thing. It's just a massive sound, I mean, what did you guys do differently? Was it the writing? Was it just the mixing of the record? Why are we getting such an awesome sonic just blast on this record? Like I said, Visitations was great, but it's just obviously just a whole nother world, I think, on this record.
I think we matured as a band a bit, just like just being more definitive as a band, songwriting wise. I think we just kind of tapped into a deeper understanding of who we are as a band, And
Okay.
like that first record, Visitations, is very like desert rock vibes, and this, when we kind of came up with that riff for Limitless,
Okay.
it just felt like epic space jams, and that was like actually the working title for the song.
Okay.
But and so we were kind of like this expansive space thing, and just we actually had the same engineer, mixer.
Okay.
Everything was very much the same going into it sonically wise. We kind of upgraded some like gear things, and but we just kind of wanted to take Visitations and take it to another level.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, you definitely did. Another thing too is if it just sounds to me that it's really rooted in a little more heaviness too on the record. It's definitely. I mean, the guitar tone is amazing. It's crunchier. It's got a little bit more like metallic. The riff's a little more metallic. I feel, and then your drums, it really just has that fullness and that punch more in your face, I would say, compared to the records. So I mean, was that the goal too? Did you guys want to? I mean, like you said, I know you wanted to add all that spaciness, but did you also want it to be heavier as well on this record?
Oh, absolutely. Like,
Yeah.
and you can hear too from like where we started as a band. Craig and I, the singer guitar player Craig, we started out like very early back in 2011, 2012 as like a blues rock band, and then
Okay.
just as we just kind of kept playing around and around Boston and stuff, and our music just kind of got heavier, darker.
Hmm.
It just kind of slowly evolved, and with our debut full length, Not Coming Back, there's some tracks on there that are like more just very rock, and
Hmm.
then
Hmm.
we just kind of just get deeper and deeper into the whole thing, and just kind of, obviously personal conflicts, and emotionally it's heavy.
Hmm.
And so a lot of that kind of is seeping through, and then just our love for heavy music, and we've always really loved like super heavy, like doom riffs and stuff, but with
Nice.
that soaring vocal, that melodic vocal that Craig can pull off over the top of it, and I just think
Mhm.
that's phenomenal.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, no, I agree. And when speaking, yeah, I mean, vocally, I mean, Craig, I mean, I know a lot of people are comparing his vocals to Chris Cornell, but I think he's just got his own thing. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I can see where that comes from, but I think his is completely unique, and he's just got his voice is just so soothing and relaxing. So it's just the combination of that heaviness with that. I think that's what really makes you guys so unique. And just so just such a great band to listen to is because of that sort of just calm but heavy, nature of that sound. I just think, yeah, I mean, Craig's just a phenomenal vocalist, man. He really is. You
Yeah,
know.
we all three of us, Craig, me, myself, and Paul, our bass player, we all went to UMass Lowell Music School for
Oh,
for a
okay.
while there. And Craig was a vocal major, and so
Mm.
I did drums and sound recording, and Paul was actually like had like saxophone experience. He's like the
Wow.
musician of the band, and he
Okay.
can play anything. But Craig, I would watch him like sing like opera and like recital
Wow.
halls, and so
Oh man. Wow.
he's very classically trained, and very, he sings, yeah, very talented singer.
Oh
And
yeah.
like
Oh,
and like you
absolutely.
said, it's I think it's his approach to the way he sings is like the correlation to Cornell. It's not
Mm.
quite Cornell, but it's like the way he approaches the vocals is very similar in that sense.
Mhm. Yeah, no, I could definitely hear that. And I'm obviously not the only one who thinks that this record is phenomenal. I mean, the whole heavy rock journalism contingent does as well. I mean, obviously the record landed number one on the Doom charts, in February. I mean, you beat out some big names for that spot too. I mean, you beat out Wino the Obsessed and
Unbelievable.
Big Scenic Nowhere, Bob Balch and Tony Reed and Mr.
Yeah.
Bison. I mean, so many good records last week, and you guys topped it, man. I mean, that's gotta feel good knowing that
Yeah.
that you guys topped all those bands, not even just being with them, but topped them. You know what I mean?
Honestly, I
Yeah.
was thinking like maybe if we got two, that was gonna be a win. Like when we
Mm,
saw the Obsessed had a record out, Big Scenic Nowhere, Mr. Bison, like that was some serious competition there. But
yeah.
all great records, all great, phenomenal bands.
Yeah.
It's still kind of a little bit of disbelief, you know what I mean? Like when I woke up and saw like the album cover on the cover of all
Yeah.
that. I was like, wow, no way.
Yeah, no, man, it's a hell of a feat, man. Congrats on that.
Thanks.
And yeah, let's talk about a couple of tracks. Obviously, the first single you guys put out, "Begin Again." Probably, it's hard to pick really what my favorite song was in a record because I love it, the whole thing. But I think that is probably my favorite track. I just love the guitar slide too and that main riff, and obviously really intrigued by the lyrics on that one as well, which I know is about sort of like a battle of one to overcome negative self-talk. But so I guess talk a little bit about that track and what you guys were kind of going for when you guys were starting to lay it down for that one.
Yeah, the Begin Again, that was a like that verse riff is very much was one of the first kind of like riffs that we had. Limitless was probably the first thing that we, that came across the table and was like, okay, this is it. This is kind of like the identity for the new record sort of deal. And then Begin Again was kind of the second one, so it kind of worked out. The first Limitless being track 1 of the A side, and Begin Again track 2 of the B side. And I think with Begin Again, that on the B side, we kind of wanted that like, you turn over the record and you get that energetic beginning again kind of vibe, and yeah, absolutely the song is definitely about kind of overcoming a lot of negative self-talk, and throughout 2020 2021, you're not sure what's going to happen. You kind of doubt yourself. Is this ever going to keep going? And you kind of have to stop the pain and just begin again and just keep doing it again. And but yeah, like there was a little period where we're kind of like, I wonder if they're gonna kind of remember us or whatever. But I do, throughout the whole thing, we did kind of believe that Visitations was kind of another record that kind of caught a lot of wind, and people really like dug that. And I was like, that's kind of a unique record. It's not, and I think people would remember. It's Sundrifter isn't quite a band that people would forget too much about, but yeah. And then Begin Again has a little bit of everything. It kind of has some like guitar soloist jam at the end, and just heavy in your face riffs with a cool groove, and the big hooky type of chorus, that big, those long vocal lines. And but yeah, we figured we thought that was a great first song to come out after 5-6 years, and it kind of just the title, "We're Gonna Begin Again," and so we kind of rolled with that, and it seemed like it worked out pretty well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And like you just brought up, the other track, "Limitless," is also a standout. I mean, and I know you got a video, obviously, for that one. Everyone can go check that out now. And listen to "Limitless." The other thing I love what you guys have done on the record is the background vocals. It just really gives the music such that stellar sort of ambiance, and just it just makes everything really complete. Sometimes I think when bands obviously add different elements to spice things up a bit, and and to fill up those empty spaces, sometimes there can be too much going on, and sometimes it's hard to process everything. But I think what you guys have done is really balance things so nicely throughout the whole record that there's no empty spaces in the songs too. That's what I love too, is everything's really complete. It's full, and it's a very like pristine recording and listen, man. I mean, so you guys now cognizant of that when you write now, writing the album? Was there anything I would say on the record that or maybe when you were in like pre-production and maybe during like the writing process, that you wanted to really maybe make sure you did differently from this, like, including the background vocals, or that's something that obviously another element you want to add in that was a little bit different than what you've done before?
I think too, yeah, I mean, a lot of it does just kind of come out as we're going with this, and
Okay.
a big part of like the sound and the sonic experience of this record, we have to give a ton of credit to our engineer Dan Schwartz.
Okay. Yeah.
He's another guy who went to UMass Lowell with us, and he
Oh,
plays
cool.
in a band called Astronoid. They're like
Okay.
very proggy, space like type of metal. And they were, he kind of has that influence, and we kind of knew what kind of touch he could put on the record.
Okay.
And two, we like to have like the record as an experience, and then our live show is like kind of a bit of another experience. and two, like you said, like the background vocals, and I think too in the whole stoner doom scene, there seems to be a less emphasis on the vocal and just melodic and harmonic elements
Sure.
that can
I
make
agree.
your music and maybe our music a bit more psychedelic in nature, where sometimes you can get lost in like harmony and melody too. It's
Totally.
not just about like the riff and the so
Yeah.
yeah, I mean that plays a big part, and Craig always loves to lay down harmonies, and he can get really into that. So.
Well, let's talk a little about the Boston, New England heavy rock scene right now. I just interviewed Mike Vickers from Leatherlung last
Oh
week,
yeah,
and yeah, we were just talking about really what a great scene that you guys have going on right there right now. I saw today even there was like a Ripple Fest Boston, and that's going to come out, and but just so many great bands. You got you guys, you got Kind and Gozu and Blood Lightning and Bone Church out of Connecticut. You got Mother Iron Horse. Just so many great bands coming out of there. And what's, we were talking about, me and Mike were, like most Northeast cities, and I grew up in New York. And both, all those cities really are traditionally known as more like hardcore and punk towns.
yeah,
But with Boston over like the last 5+ years or so, really, we're seeing a whole different thing going on there that I've never seen before coming out of there. Normally when I would interview people or talk to, metal musicians or whatever out of Boston or, any hard rock, it's like, yeah, it's more of a punk hardcore place, but not anymore. I think you guys and, are changing the historic nature of what's going on in Boston, man. So you would talk a little bit about what you see, going on right now in the scene there.
yeah. It's funny you say that. Yeah, I'm definitely like a retired hardcore kid.
Yeah, so
Back
am
in
I.
the early
Uh-huh.
2000s, I loved like a lot of Hope Conspiracy, Converge, and
Oh yeah.
things like that.
Hmm.
And then when I went to UMass Lowell, kind of got more into like uh, expanding your mind and
Hmm.
sleep and slowing it down a little bit and getting a
Yep.
little older. And I always
Hmm.
noticed that like a lot of the older hardcore kids or whatever used to could just somehow write really good rock songs and like heavy
Hmm.
stoner doom rock songs.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
like the Leather Lung guys, they have some hardcore influences in there, and they have some
Hmm.
that really influence their heaviness. But yeah, like you said, Gozu, Blood Lightning, the Ripple Fest, a lot of heavy psych, Mutoid Man, Mother Iron
Hmm.
Horse, all those bands. Really good stuff. Gray Skull booking. There's like a solid community. There's like a lot of venues that are catering to the bands, and it's just a great scene. Everybody's supporting each other. There's like a lot of smaller bands, a lot of bigger bands, and everybody's helping each other out, which is great.
That's awesome, man. So, Tommy, tell me a couple of your, favorite underground Boston bands from your earlier times there, whether it's a hardcore or whether it's heavy rock or whatever it is. Because this has been so. I used to love like a lot of those Wonder Drug Records bands. The Scissor Fights again. Obviously Gangrene from back in the day was always, a great, original Boston band. SSD Control. But now we're getting into hardcore. I won't go there. But heavy rock, but it's kind of interesting because a lot of those bands like Tree and all these bands, they would start out hardcore punk, but then they would morph into sort of that, heavier rock or more like stoner stuff, like you were mentioning. You know what I mean? What are some bands that you kind of dug growing up within the underground Boston scene?
I definitely think that like the Hope Conspiracy was probably one of
Oh,
my favorite
conspiracy.
hardcore
Okay.
bands. And then for like Converge, and
Hmm.
then like once when me and Craig started playing in like 2012 together, we started to play like a lot of the clubs around the local scene, and there was a band, couple of heavy psych bands that were a bit lesser known. There was this band called Sand Reckoner.
Okay.
They kind of some it's kind of tough when some smaller bands kind of like emerge and then they kind of fade out a little bit. But that
Mm-hmm.
band was it kind of definitely influenced me even up and right up till 2012 or so. But it kind of changed the direction of where I was kind of going and where the band was going, and you could just kind of tell there's like a feel around 2012 where everything was shifting more towards like heavy psych
Mm.
and like just kind of that kind of a thing. But yeah, a lot of hardcore. But then there's a lot of non-Boston bands that have influenced us as a band, like Queens of the Stone Age, Kaya, Sleep, like, you know, those things
Mhm.
had a major influence coming around.
Yeah, yeah, it is interesting. Interesting as you said. Just sort of like you said, sort of like the hard, the hardcore punk retirement plan is the heavy, the stoner doom, heavy rock stuff. It really is. But so I mean, Patrick, man, now that you got this great record out there, I mean, and it's resonating with fans and everyone in the press and heavy rock world. I mean, what's the plans to get this record, if into as many hands as possible? I mean, are you guys going to do any tour or festivals? What's your ideal, I guess, plan for 2024?
Yeah, 2024, we already have like a whole bunch of dates lined up. We have an album release in Medford at Deep Cuts.
Okay.
Really cool new venue. We lost a few venues during the pandemic, but a
Mm-hmm.
few others emerged. Kind of how it's been going. Some go, then some new ones emerge. But last weekend we did a show at Lucky 13 Saloon in Brooklyn.
Oh, Brooklyn, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Really cool show. We played with the Pale Hand and Sabbath Warlock,
Oh,
two
cool,
really
nice,
cool bands. It was a great time. We played Reading, Pennsylvania with our friends in the Stone Eye from Philadelphia.
nice. Okay.
We definitely might be back in New York again. Maybe get to Philly, do some more regional dates, get up to Maine, New Hampshire, Rhode Island, Connecticut. Try to get out further. Just try to hit the road a lot, really, and play as much as we can. And two, like a lot of these, in earlier time, a lot of these songs were written right after Visitations.
Mm-hmm.
So even though it's been 6 years, that like I don't think the people or the fans have quite heard the jump in maturity of the band,
Mm-hmm.
where we even still have new music. It's
Yeah.
crazy to say this, but we do
Oh,
have some new, about like 6 new songs that
oh,
are
nice.
already like. Craig is a phenomenal just songwriter.
Mm-hmm.
He can pull out like verses and choruses like like that very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And so we kind of just songwriting machines, and we already have some stuff, and hopefully, you know, uh, pending any type of major global shutdowns, that
Oh,
we could
man.
have even more music coming out. Hopefully in the winter, in these New England winters, we kind of will go into a recording hibernation, hopefully, and then
Mm-hmm.
get another one out way sooner than 6 years.
Nice, nice. Well, that's great. Well, I mean, there's plenty to chew on right now with this great record in an earlier time, and it's out right now on Small Stone Records. So go ahead, Patrick. Why don't you let everyone know, where I guess the best place they can go to either, buy the record, buy some merch, or just keep up with the band in general, what you guys got going on.
Yeah, we get social media, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, or X. Instagram, SUNDRIFTER BC. We got a website, sundrifterband.com, Bandcamp, sundrifter.bandcamp.com. Small Stone Records has some vinyl. We just recently kind of sold out of the limited edition blue
I got
record.
the last one. I got the last
Oh,
one of that one. I did.
thank you.
On Bandcamp, I did. I got the last one. I was like, ooh, one left, and yeah,
One
I got
left.
it. But yeah,
We
but
still
yeah.
have a lot of purple. The purple is
Okay,
very cool. Shout
nice.
out to Small Stone and Gold Rush Vinyl in Austin, Texas, for doing a killer job. 180 grams.
Nice. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, you can find us there. All of our dates will be announced, and flyers are always posted. And even directly inbox us. Let us know. Contact us. We're always willing to talk. Tell you more about the band, where to find us, and how to get stuff from us. But yeah, got.
Fantastic. All right. Yeah. Well, one last question. That album cover. Who made that cover? I love it. I think it's a great artwork.
The same man that made the Visitations one,
Visitations.
Bronca Studios. So
Nice.
he just always kills it. He has a certain aesthetic that I think fits the band sonically. It's like simple yet kind of deep.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like where we're coming from. Simple riffs, but kind of has deeper layered meanings behind everything. And yeah, he did an amazing job, and he did the poster for our album release show on March 23rd at Deep Cuts in Boston, and he's done a lot of designs for us, and always a killer job. And everybody seems to catches their eye. So
Once again, Patrick, thanks so much for coming on, Sundrifter. Great record. Go check it out. Hey, man, appreciate you coming on, Patrick, and good
appreciate for
luck with
having us.
everything.